Good morning and welcome back to Good Morning KU Sports. I'm Emily and I'm usually behind the scenes producing our show, but today I am doing a mix of both. I'm sad because this is our final episode of the semester, but we've had a great run so far. For this episode, all of our crew members will be talking about their favorite teams and what is the latest with all of them. We can't wait to share all of this with you. To get this show rolling, Addie is here with a rundown of all things Minnesota Twins. Addie, how are the Twins looking so far?
That's right, Emily. The Minnesota Twins are my favorite professional sports team, but the start of their 2024 campaign has really made me rethink that. Having it been 32 years since winning a World Series, and up until last year, not even winning a playoff game since 2004, it's been a rough go-around for us Twins fans, and unfortunately, this season hasn't looked promising either. The Twins are currently sitting at 9-13 and are 7.5 games out of first place in the American League Central as they struggle to escape a cycle of poor hitting and sloppy defense. The Twins also don't have their ideal roster right now as some of their team's biggest stars are on rehab assignments. Star flamethrower Johan Duran was diagnosed with an oblique strain at the end of spring training, which took a huge hit on the Twins' pitching rotation. Royce Lewis, who hit 4 grand slams in 20 days last season, tore his quad on opening day. Given these injuries, the Twins just simply do not have the roster power to win games right now. As for batting, the only team with a lower batting average through 17 games was the 2003 Detroit Tigers, owners of the worst record in AL history at 43-119. Ryan Jeffers is seemingly the only one who can hold the weight of this offense on his back while he is batting .246, but he himself has found himself in an 0-10 slump as of late. The only bright spot the Twins can lean on is the top half of the pitching rotation in Joe Ryan and Bailey Ober, who have looked consistently solid every time they're on the bump. Looking ahead, Minnesota has a softer portion of their schedule coming up, and if the Twins can't figure out a way to win some games, they're going to be in major trouble.
Thanks, Addie. I'm sorry the Twins aren't looking so hot, but we'll see if they can get it together. Speaking of another MLB team, let's go over to Katie, who's covering the Colorado Rockies.
Thanks, Emily. Hi, everyone. As it has been well covered this year, I am a diehard but pretty depressed Rockies fan. But instead of continuing to talk about the Rockies' struggles, I want to close out this semester with 3 fun facts about my favorite team in purple. The Rockies have an awesome mascot named Dinger, who's a purple dinosaur who hatched out of a giant egg on the field. The Rockies also play at one of the best ballparks in the world, Coors Field, and the outfield is just a giant forest made up of trees, fountains, and there's even an enormous lake. And last but certainly not least, I am wearing a Tony Wolters jersey, who memorably came up with one of the biggest hits in Rockies history with his single in the 13th inning of the 2018 wildcard game, which is my favorite baseball game of all time. This has been an incredible year on Good Morning KU Sports, and for one last time, that's all from me. Let's head back over to Emily.
Thanks, Katie. It's pretty obvious we have a lot of baseball fans here at Good Morning KU Sports, and guess what? We still have more. Hey, Ryan, tell us about the Dodgers.
The Los Angeles Dodgers, Emily. A team I love all the way up until September, but then October rolls around and then they find a way to lose in the NLDS to another divisional rival. The past 2 years, either the Padres or the Diamondbacks. Now, thought about putting video in for this segment, but I didn't want to subject you guys to a team that becomes dormant in the month of October. But now you may be asking me, Ryan, this is the best team in MLB on paper and has 3 potential MVP candidates, as well as a Cy Young candidate in Tyler Glasnow. Now, while that is most definitely true, let's take a look at the Dodgers' playoff record for the last 10 seasons, a span that has seen the Dodgers make the playoffs every single year. Their record, a lousy 48-45. For a team that has been a legit contender ever since making the World Series in 2017, that's very bad. After getting off to a shaky start this year, at least for their standards, with a 16-11 record, the Dodgers once again see themselves as a team destined to make a run in October. Now, if there's one thing I've learned as a Dodger fan, it's to never get my hopes up for the postseason, because if I do, I'll just be disappointed every single time. With all that being said, go Dodgers.
Thanks, Ryan. Now, we have Eli in studio this morning giving us an update on the Chicago Cubs. Eli, we know you love your Chicago team, so tell us what's up with them.
Thanks, Emily. Despite being riddled with injuries in the starting lineup, starting rotation, and the bullpen, my Chicago Cubs have still figured out a way to start the season off playing some of the best baseball that we have seen from them in a long time. The Cubbies are currently 16-9, which is one of the best records in the game, and are 10-3 at Wrigley Field, which is the best home record in baseball. The Cubs are just coming off a sweep of the Houston Astros at Wrigley, where they were missing their two best hitters in Cody Bellinger and Seiya Suzuki. Like I said, the Cubs have injuries all across the board along with Suzuki and Bellinger. Their ace and Cy Young candidate from last year, Justin Steele, has been out since opening day, but he is returning on May 1st. Julian Merriweather is out for a couple months with a shoulder injury, who is a solid key middle reliever out of the bullpen. Once this team gets healthy, not only do I think that they will win the NL Central, but I also think that they could make a deep run into the postseason. The Cubs play today at Fenway Park in Boston against the Red Sox at 6:40 p.m., and they look to stay hot. Go Cubs, go.
Thanks, Eli, for that update. Let's switch it over to another kind of sport, one we actually don't hear about often, and one actually from the movies. So, Prescott, let's head over to you for coverage on Quidditch.
Thanks, Emily. The sport I'll talk about today is a little unorthodox. We've never covered it on this show, but you may have read about this mythical game in J.K. Rowling's books, or seen Harry Potter participate in this sport while zooming around on the big screen. That's right, the game is Quidditch. I think Quidditch is an underrated sport. It's a mix of football, lacrosse, and dodgeball, all mixed into one. I won't bore you with the rules and details, but I will tell you my favorite position to play. And that position is the snitch. Now, I run around with a yellow sock taped to the back of my pants, and the seeker is trying to catch me. Now let me tell you, when people are reaching for your backside, you get touched in the butt a lot. And also, you get pantsed. And if you go commando like I do, you traumatize a lot of people. So don't go commando. Now, to end our segment, I'd like to introduce everybody to a special guest. And her name is Broomy. Now, Broomy's bristles were imported from Brazil. And this yellow thing right here was made in Canada. And her lovely shaft was made right here in America. Now, she handles like a Lamborghini, and she sure is fast. What's that, Broomy? You think the Nuggets are going to sweep the Lakers? Wow. Back to you, Emily.
Prescott, that was amazing. I have no words, but thank you for all that Quidditch coverage. I appreciate your special guest, Broomy, which I have never heard about, so thank you for that. After a short break, we'll be back with Luke and Maya, who are going to talk about the team that everybody loves, the Kansas City Chiefs. Stay with us.
Good morning! Welcome to Slow Drip, everybody!
Welcome back from the break. I'm here with Maya to talk about the Chiefs and what an exciting season they had with ups and downs. So let's get started. If there is one lesson learned this season, it is to never doubt an offense behind Patrick Mahomes, no matter how bad they may look. The Chiefs went from having one of the worst receiving rooms in the league and barely making the playoffs to having a historical postseason run capped off by a Super Bowl win. As a Kansas City native, my favorite moments from the season would have to be seeing how mad other fans would get when we would continue to win games where everyone was against us. If I had to pick one play to describe the season as a whole, it would have to be the game against the Bills, where Kelsey executed one of the most creative plays just to be ruined by Kadarius Toney being so offsides he was almost lined up with the Bills' offensive line. This would be the second game of the season Toney lost for the Chiefs, making their Super Bowl run that much more impressive. Their game plan wasn't the only thing that improved, however, throughout the season, as their popularity skyrocketed with the announcement of Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce being in a relationship. What impact do you think this had on the Chiefs season and football as a sport, Maya?
It seems like at this point you can't talk about the Chiefs without at least mentioning Taylor Swift. I have been a lifelong Chiefs fan, but definitely started tuning in more so I wouldn't miss any quick camera shots of her or Travis Kelce touchdown celebrations. Taylor Swift has earned the Chiefs $331.5 million in equivalent brand value. This has come from a mix of TV, highlights, and social media dating back to September. Chiefs have seen a boom in merchandise sales, sponsorship, ticket sales, and social media followers. She has also had an impact on the NFL as a whole with a large increase in viewership. This influx was primarily due to women, which I personally think is great. The NFL also grew their social media following. While Taylor Swift did have a big impact, the Chiefs' popularity is definitely something they've earned as back-to-back Super Bowl champions. With an electric stadium atmosphere, people love going to their games even if it's below 30. Back in 2014, they set the world record for loudest crowd, hitting 142.2 decibels. As someone who was born and raised on the Chiefs, I am so excited to watch this coming season and hope they keep the momentum going and Taylor Swift in attendance.
Thanks for the Chiefs coverage, you two. I actually was just at Arrowhead Stadium this past week, and I got to tour it, and wow, it is nice. And also with Taylor Swift, I'm not a Swiftie personally, however, I am in agreement. She definitely has changed the game for the Chiefs and the NFL. Now we're going to switch over to basketball, and Lily has all things Denver Nuggets. Lily, what do you have for us today?
Thanks, Emily. So the reigning NBA champs are my favorite team and have been for about 4 years now. Let me tell you, the first time I saw Bubble Murray, I was hooked and learned all I could about this team. Then last year, I was able to watch them win their first ever NBA championship with a player that attended KU at the same time as me, Christian Brown. Now we're on to another postseason, and the Nuggets are going against the Los Angeles Lakers in the first round after sweeping them in the Western Conference Finals last year. The Nuggets are up 3-0, but the highlight of the series so far is what Nuggets fans have dubbed the Hail Murray buzzer beater after they were down 20 in the third quarter in Game 2. Or as Anthony Davis called it, Jamal Murray made a shot. Just take a look at this.
We go to overtime. Murray makes a move. Goes on.
Jeez, he was having a hard time making shots go down, but came up big when necessary. And to no one's surprise, Nikola Jokic recorded another triple-double with 27, 20, and 10. That's all I have to say on that. Just give him his third MVP already. While Denver's starting five is the best in the league, their bench is another conversation. But if we can get just a little more out of Peyton Watson and a little more from Christian Brown, who recorded 10 points off the bench in Game 2, it's game over and see y'all at the parade in June. I'm excited to see the future of this team, and I credit them for helping me find my love for sports again. I'm so happy to see Jamal Murray with the success after his injury, and that taught me a lot about resilience, a reason why he's one of my favorite players, if not my favorite player. I'm also happy to be able to witness their golden era, whether it's on TV or in person, because I finally got to watch him play in Denver back in January. This semester has been so fun, and I hope I get to do another show like this next year before I graduate in May. Signing out for the last time, I'm Lily Demas, and I'll throw it back to you, Emily.
Thanks, Lily. We're sure going to miss you here at Good Morning KU Sports. The Nuggets have been actually on a good run recently, and I've been enjoying watching Christian Brown, especially since he's a former Jayhawk. Another team we'll switch over to in the NBA is the Golden State Warriors. Ulicia, tell us what's going on with them right now.
Thanks, Emily. The Warriors have been my favorite team since 4th grade. However, we have seen some struggles this season from one of America's favorite basketball teams. With only a record of 46-36 this season, the Warriors were eliminated in the first round of the play-in tournament this year by the Sacramento Kings, 118-94. We've seen this team transfer from one of the decade's most successful NBA teams to an organization just now starting to rebuild. Just recently, one of the Golden State's favorite shooting guards, Klay Thompson, announced his free agency and, for the first time ever, will leave the Warriors after getting drafted by them in 2011. This is both an upset and a relief to Warriors fans. Although the NBA is seeing the split of one of its most iconic duos, Klay Thompson and Steph Curry, it allows for some revising following the team's dry season. That's all I have on recent Golden State Warriors news. Over to you, Emily.
Thanks, Ulicia. It'll be interesting to see how the Warriors grow throughout their next season. College basketball is now over, and unfortunately, KU didn't succeed as much as we all would have liked them to. However, next year is going to be looking pretty bright with some of the top recruits that KU is picking up. Emmett's here in studio. Emmett, what is KU basketball going to be looking like next year?
Well, with the elite history KU basketball has, I think as fans, we can say this year was a big letdown. I mean, we didn't have much depth to start with which hurts, especially in tournament time, but it was still disappointing. It's tough to be successful, especially when our best player had injury struggles throughout the second half of the season. However, I'm very excited for next year, and all KU basketball fans should be as well. Bill Self has brought in a ton of offensive weapons in guys like Zeke Mayo, Riley Kugel, who actually may not be able to play due to grades, and AJ Storr. To add on, this morning, Rylan Griffin, an Alabama transfer, just announced he will be coming to the University of Kansas. This is yet another great pickup. In addition, Self is also bringing in a solid 2024 class. It's safe to say Bill Self isn't messing around anymore. He said earlier in the year he tried something different with recruitment last year and that he won't ever do it again. Also, in a press conference after the loss to Gonzaga, he said he'd already been thinking about next season, just like we all were as fans. To add on, last time we left the tournament this early, we won it again the next year. I'm just saying. Don't be disappointed about this past season, as next year is going to be a very exciting year.
Thanks, Emmett. I love KU basketball too, obviously because of my jersey choice this morning, and I'm pumped to go back to games again next year. Hopefully we deliver. We will see. Let's go over to Will, who's talking about one of our other Kansas schools, also basketball, Wichita State.
Thanks, Emily. KU, like all basketball teams, has had its share of NCAA tournament losses. Normally, I feel a little sad when KU loses, but on March 2015, I was ecstatic. My favorite moment is watching, Wichita State upset number 2 Kansas in the third round of the NCAA men's tournament. If you don't remember, here's a quick highlight to jog your memory.
On the drive, he's turned back, stolen by Van Vliet. He's on the run, he's green, and the tip home. Baker on the follow, able to convert the tip.
Unfortunately, Wichita State has not had much success against Kansas since that game. But for a few weeks, Wichita State were the kings of Kansas. After a short break, our weatherman Sam will be here with the final weather.
Looking to the south here from our Oriad Hotel tower cam, you can see the overcast skies that are left over from the whole bunch of rainfall that we got yesterday. And looking at the radar right now, you can see that all the rain has now moved well into Missouri, whereas here in our viewing area, we are completely dry here in Kansas. Looking at the current conditions here, further out to the west, we are warmer, 68 in Westmoreland, 71 in Manhattan, 70 down further south down in Marion. Whereas to the east, you have more of the rain-cooled air. We're at 60 at downtown Kansas City, 62 down in Butler. Whereas here in Lawrence, we are at a nice cool 64 degrees and overcast skies right now. We're going to have strong wind for the majority of the day today, and some gusts could get over 35 miles an hour. And this all sets up for a chance for isolated severe storms this evening, with the best chance for us being around that dinner time hour. Storm Prediction Center has us here in an enhanced level 3 out of 5 risk. Here in Lawrence, we are well inside this risk, and it stretches all the way up into Iowa and down south, all the way down toward Burlington. And putting the radar into motion for what could happen later today. This is at 3 p.m. Moving on to 4, you can see a storm start to pop up all, or just maybe to the south of us and all around the Lawrence area. Now by 4 p.m. here, has the potential to be storms in the area, and 5 to 6 p.m. storms will move off to the east. Now, as you can tell from these shots here, this will be a case where in one county you might have a strong to severe storm, whereas one county to the north, to the south, to the east, whatever, could be completely dry and you could have sunshine. So a very isolated threat, but be on your toes this evening, be ready for possible warnings to be issued. And now, Going hour by hour today, it'll be at 69 at 12 o'clock, 74 at 3 and 6, top out around 77 later today. And again, that 3 to 6 p.m. time frame is when we could see a possible isolated severe storm around the area. For this evening, we cool down into the 60s as we head toward midnight, and this sets us up for what could be a more significant day for severe weather tomorrow. There is a much larger enhanced risk in place for basically all of eastern Kansas, east central Kansas especially, for tomorrow. And now, for tomorrow, it is difficult because, well, the models that we have are not in agreement right now in terms of the storm mode and the timing of their impacts. To the best of my ability right now, I think it could be around 7 to 11 p.m. be the most likely time frame for us to get severe weather here in Lawrence. And for yesterday, or for today and tomorrow, there is a chance for large hail, some strong wind gusts, and a strong tornado or two is possible within the enhanced risk area. Now for Sunday, as the system continues to move off to the east, so does the severe weather risk, as we in Lawrence are in a level 2 out of 5 slight risk for severe weather. Now putting this into motion, starting at tomorrow at 1 p.m., storms start to pop up to our south and further to our west. They continue to develop down the southwest and move up into our area as we head into Sunday or Saturday evening. Then as Sunday morning comes around, the continual stream of just training of heavy rains, especially down to our south and southeast over here. But there is a potential for flooding in those regions, and overall just could be a significant severe weather episode for today and tomorrow. Temperature-wise for your weekend will be at 81 for a high on Saturday. Tomorrow will be down at 75 with those chances for rainfall. And now, finally, moving on to sports weather. The baseball team is hosting Texas Tech for a weekend series. I'd be surprised if they do not move the game tonight at 6 p.m. as there will be that chance for severe weather during that period. But tomorrow for the early afternoon game against Texas Tech again, the weather looks like it will cooperate for that one. Then Sunday, small chance for residual showers as it'll be at 72 for that 1 p.m. first pitch. Before Wednesday, when they take on Wichita State, another chance of storms returns, and it'll be around 77 for that one. Softball team will be in Stillwater, Oklahoma, taking on Oklahoma State over this weekend. And they will have much more favorable conditions, except for tomorrow when they have another chance of storms down in Stillwater. Now that has the potential to be severe weather as well, as it is the same system that could bring us some severe storms tomorrow evening. But then come Sunday, much more favorable conditions, especially for Thursday as they return home to take on BYU. Now for the remainder of the NFL draft, today it'll be a cool 65 degrees with plenty of sunshine, whereas tomorrow morning for rounds 4 through 7, there is a good chance of showers in the AM hours in Detroit, but that should clear out fairly quickly and shouldn't be much of a concern for the remainder of the draft. Now you may be wondering, well, why am I not wearing a jersey for my favorite sports team? Well, my favorite team does not wear jerseys. The NASCAR Cup Series will be in Dover, Delaware on Sunday, and pre-race it'll be a nice sunny 70 degrees, come green flag 75, and checkered flag it'll be up to 78. As a NASCAR fan, I much appreciate this because this race always seems to get rain delayed as it has for at least the past 3 years, it seems like. And now, going on to the 7-day forecast, and it is a one full of rain and storms. As today will be at 77 with a chance for severe weather in the evening, that isolated threat. Tomorrow, a greater chances will be a bit warmer at 81. Sunday will be at 75 with the residual showers sticking around. And those strong winds will be a factor for your entire weekend. Before Monday, we finally have 1 day of calm conditions, as will be sunny and 74. If you have any outdoor plans, definitely get them done on that day because it'll probably be your best chance. And then as we head toward the middle to end of next week on Tuesday, the chance of storms returns will be at up to 83. Same thing for Wednesday at 79. Then for your final day of classes on Thursday, again, more rainfall is likely. This will be at 72 degrees. Back to you, Emily.
Thanks, Sam. You really got us there with that NASCAR. Be safe out there this weekend, everyone, and hopefully we do not have anything too serious with the weather, but be on the lookout and watch your weather forecast. And Sam, thank you for all that information. That is all we have for you today on this final episode of Good Morning KU Sports. We've had such a great semester here, and it's been so fun for me to produce and be a part of the show. We'll be back with all of our coverage next semester and all things KU and professional sports. We appreciate your support throughout this whole semester, and tune into Playmakers at noon. Thank you to everyone on our crew who has worked so hard for this show. We'll see you next semester in Rock Chalk.